everybody, this is video number 2 on lesson 5.2. So if we look at an example like this one, they're giving you 150% and they want it as a fraction. So remember, this symbol means that you're going to put whatever's in front of it over 100. So what's in front of it is 150, and then we have to write that over 100. Now, if you are comfortable with simplifying this and you want to go ahead and do that, we can start by getting rid of the zeros. We just divided by 10. And then hopefully you can see that 5 would go into both 15 and 10. So if we do 15 divided by 5, we're going to get 3. And if we do 10 divided by 5, we're going to get 2. And what makes sense is because this is over 100%, that of course our value should be over 1. And if we do 3 divided by 2 to make it a mixed number, it's going to go in once with the 1 left over, so it would be equal to 1 and 1/2. 1 1/2. 1 and 1/2. Alright, now if we look at question number 3, again it says, write the percent as a fraction. Now what I've seen people do, and it's probably not good practice to do this, is to just take the stuff that's in front of it, which in this case is a decimal, and write it over 100. Because that would not be in simplest form. So I want to show you another way around that. What you're going to do first instead is you're going to change this to a decimal. So if I rewrite this, let's put it down here. This is what we have right now. We have it as a percent. If we were going to change this to a decimal, we would move it 2 to the left. We would go 1, 2 to the left, and the decimal would go here. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. This is what we're really looking at. Ask yourself, how do we say that? Well, this is the tenths place, hundredths place, thousandths place. This would read as 2 thousandths. So let's write it as 2 thousandths. Now that's not in simplest form. You would want to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the GCF, which would be 2. And if we do 2 divided by 2, we're going to get 1. And most folks know what 10 divided by 2 is. That would be 5. So we just have to put these 2 zeros on there. So it's going to be 1 over 500. Now, the wrong way to do it, or I shouldn't say wrong way, just I think it's people tend to do this for some reason, is they just take the stuff that's in front of it, which is 2/10, and they put that over 100. But that's not in simplest form. That's not in simplest form. If you were going to clear this decimal, you would multiply this by 10, which means you'd multiply this by 10. So if you were going to clear this decimal, you'd move 1 to the right, which would mean adding another 0. And that brings us back to what we had down here, doesn't it? So it's better to first change it to a decimal, think of how you say it as a decimal, and write it that way as a fraction, and then simplify it. So let's see, is there another one like that? I think there might be. Let's see if we can find it, because I like to do those first. Let's see. No, there isn't one there. Let's see what else we got. All right, this one's a good example right here. All right, let's look at number 16. So probably the way that people would tend to do it is they would tend to write 3 5/10 over 100 because they want it as a decimal. Actually, this one they don't even want it as a fraction. They want it as a decimal. So that's easy enough because all we need to do is just take the decimal and move it 2 to the left. So let's just write this down here. This is the number we're dealing with as a percent. And if we're going to go 2 to the left, let's use a different color to make that 2 to the left, 1, 2 to the left, then that would be this number right here. We would read that as 35 thousandths. So if we had to write this as a fraction, we would put the 35 over the denominator of 1,000 and then we'd simplify that. But actually this is a little bit easier. So all of these, you're just going to move the decimal 2 to the left. And anything like this, you're going to write it over 100 and then simplify it unless it's got a decimal embedded in it. Then you're going to use my approach here that I showed you. All right, hopefully you found this helpful.